You think you know me. Say I'm as cold-hearted as they come. You think I'm slowly.
What's up, Pride fam?
We're back for another episode. I'm Mollee Gray.
I'm Jeka Jane.
And I'm Kent Boyd.
And we are Pridehouse
Pridehouse
LA.
LA.
And today, you guys, we have one of the most special guests that I think we've ever had on the show. We are so super excited. This is Fiona Dawson. Woo! Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for that very warm welcome. I'm already like feeling shy and humble.
Hey, we're friendly over here.
So Fiona, we were just talking about, we watched it again yesterday. We were diving into it this morning. The biggest thing I feel like that we've been impacted by with you is obviously creating and directing and conceptually putting together TransMilitary, and how educating and emotional and also kind of scary that was to watch.
Eye-opening. Eye-opening and so fun to see.
Yeah. And I think we just all kind of like, want to know like how that experience was.
Yeah, well, thank you. Like, before I dive into all of that, I have to also give big kudos, credit, and all the love to my co-creators, Gabe Silverman and Jamie Coughlin. They have a production company called Side by Side Studios. And so we were teamed up by the New York Times in 2015. And so what you see, like, there's a 13-minute short film that we did with the New York Times, and then the 90-minute feature documentary that's on all of the streaming platforms you can find. And so, although you're talking to one person here, but as you know, like, you've got 3 hosts on your show, right? So
it takes a village.
My buddies Gabe and Jamie with me, but at the same time, yes, it was a labor of love, and I started it in 2012 before I met Gabe and Jamie, primarily because as an out LGBTQ person, I had been doing advocacy along with others about the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And of course, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was the law that banned lesbian, gay, and bi people for serving. And all through the years that we'd been advocating for that, we'd been saying LGBT people should be able to serve in the military. And it wasn't until after repeal that I came to realize that actually trans people were still banned. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
the work's not done.
Like, you can't just leave some people behind.
Right, exactly.
And so that's really how, some people do, don't they? But I don't want to do that. And so that's really why I thought, well, hell, like, no one is talking about these stories, and like trans people are twice as likely to serve than cisgender or non-trans people. Right. And it's like, we need to do something about it. And so really it was like late 2012, that's when the project began. And I already had friends, obviously, who were trans and in the military, and just started filming my friends' stories. And so it just kind of like morphed from there. And like, once the New York Times got wind of the stories that we were documenting, they were like, oh, we need to make a short film about this. And I'm like, hell yeah, we do. And so that's when like Gabe and Jamie and I got together, and we did the short Transgender at War and in Love. And I would love anyone listening or watching like to go ahead and watch the films, like both the 13-minute and the 90-minute, because it's the stories of the service members that, as you know, like, that just really touch you and change not only your hearts and minds, but your perspective of what it's like to serve in the military too, which is something civilians don't understand. And, 78% of Americans support a military officer. They think that's a prestigious job. So for me, I see it as an opportunity to reach people that wouldn't typically look at a trans story, but they support the military. Right. And so that's
what we
kind
were
of
saying.
Like a gateway.
Yeah, like I was like, this is so important, just because I grew up, and now we're like 30. So I had friends that went to Afghanistan and served, and then just to get this perspective, to get it out into the public about their lives and how capable and able they are, and yet they're not being able to serve, is just so it's terrifying. It's like, what? This isn't American at all. And the fact that you created a film to expose that and to put it in the limelight, so it's in their faces, they understand the facts, you see them kind of how they have to go through change, and all these meetings, when it was just so informative to kind of see how change is actually what it takes.
Kim Kardashian could never do all those meetings.
Yeah, and also bear in mind today, intersex people still cannot serve in the military.
Wow.
And that's because you've got these outdated policies that where human beings are being judged by their junk, which is ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah,
I
literally.
know. And then we're fighting over where they shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, why do we care so much about where they shit? Why are we so scared?
Yeah. We were just talking about that right before. We were like, you're not going to find a trans person that walks into a bathroom to be like sexually assault somebody.
No.
You're going to see someone who is a rapist or check it out. I just gotta pee. You're not.
Yeah.
Like
That's
if
the
somebody
stigma our
dresses
community
up like
gets.
that,
Yeah.
that's not a trans person. You know what I mean? It's so it's so sad. But we were also talking about the irony of, and Jeka and I talk about this all the time because we're married, that he is so passing, of course, and a lot of trans men are very passing. And when you get maybe a trans woman, sometimes it's a little bit harder. The journey is a little bit longer. And so having that relationship of seeing, what's his name again?
The couple?
The married couple?
Oh, they were in LA.
Yes.
Logan and Layla.
Yes.
Logan and Layla, the stars.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about just
but
like,
just seeing the
Power
difference.
couple.
Power couple for sure.
Yeah.
And so beautiful and handsome.
Yeah, and I mean, and Molly, that to your point, that's another reason why I feel like the military is such a great way to educate people about what it means to be trans and educate people on the breakdown of gender, because the military is the most gender binary workplace you'll find, right? So currently the US military, it's like if you are male, as in assigned male at birth, you go in this box. If you are assigned female at birth, you go in this box. And then you've got all these expectations. And when you find like, binary trans people such as Logan and Layla, who literally have been put in the wrong box when there's only two choices, you kind of like can start people thinking, oh, so where's the line between that box and that box, right? Because there is no gray area in the military. I mean, it makes you question, but there is a gray area, like it does exist, like, and then maybe we can translate that into society as well.
Absolutely.
But also quick other shout out for Logan and Layla, they were interviewed by Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, let's go.
That's a great
platform. Yeah. That's cool. So that's another place people can look and listen to their story as well. So
yeah. I think something pretty interesting too, that it did come out a couple years ago rather than right now, when this is kind of, we always say like being gay and being trans right now, like seems to be trendy or cool,
We're cool,
and so you were, pushing boundaries way before anyone would do that for like our community. And so, like stories like that really kind of like help, you know what I mean? People who are, Jeka's going to be 35 and, he just came out to me as transgender like 2 years ago. So he just, transitioned. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's been such an acceleration of people coming out, and it's because people come out and you hear these stories that, it's almost, I hate to use the word contagious in our current environment.
No,
be careful. CDC might say something.
It's a good contagion.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which is also why I'm really like advocating, like right now, like I think bi plus, right? Bi and pan, and being bi is like the next trans.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are stories that we're hearing more about.
Yeah. And I'm like you were
too.
saying with the intersex, like I'm really interested, even at the very beginning of the whole show, where, it would tell us like how high their hair could be, or just the protocols that they would require for both these genders. How are we going to break these down? And to me, it's just refreshing that it's in the military. We're starting there and working through the system there so that it could eventually be society, and it can be those norms, and we can continue to build those walls, break those walls down, and continue to elevate, because that's what we want. We want to be able to be whatever we want, and we want to be able to be living in society
and respected too.
Respected and thriving, and have health care and have benefits. And like that was also really heartening for me to see the Logan and Layla and their differences and what they would get and what Logan got healthcare and how she would have to lose 12 years of all of her hard work. Like that's just, it's so, and they're trying to, that's why I love it too, because I hate to put us into sides, but it's so red to me because they're in the military and they're fighting. And I feel like those beliefs really align with that side of where we've kind of put them today on the news. And it's just like, these people are here fighting for our freedoms. What's more American than that? And yet we're still, you know,
focused on their junk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's also like interesting, I think, for us as civilians is to realize that oftentimes the military has led the way in what we're perceiving as like social change.
Yes, that's
right?
not,
So, for example, like same-sex relationships or same gender, which I think is more accurate, relationships were recognized in the military before we had marriage equality in this land.
Cool.
Right?
Oh,
that makes sense.
Black African American people could serve in the military before we had the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Like women have more equal pay in the military than we do in society, and it's not because the military wants to be progressive and inclusive and shit. It's because they realize that if you want to recruit and retain good people, then you take care of good people, right? And I love that, you know, what you're listing off here, like healthcare, you know, employment, like these are the basic things that all Americans want, and these are the things that the military provides, like you know, they sense of camaraderie, like being a part of something greater than yourself, like a satisfying job, satisfying career. These are things that we can relate to in society, and like ironically, the military has had to come into that you know, position in order to be the best fighting force that it wants to be. And so I love how it also breaks down some of those stereotypes as well.
I really
refreshing to even hear that, because like we were saying, it is a desirable job because it provides that, I guess, challenge that we look so forward in life that keeps us alive. And not only like, even in this film, like we see these trans humans and they're so fit, they're so strong, they're ready for the Olympics, and it's so fun to see these able people that are protecting our country. And it's just like,
or even I feel like a lot of the times, and Jeka, you could speak on this a little bit, when you are a part of the community, or you do feel like neglect from a family or something, the first thing people say is like, oh, I'll join the Army or the Navy or something.
Or the Air Force.
Like that's somewhere where like, okay, I don't have a family here. This is where I'm going to go.
Provide me with all these obstacles to be successful in life.
And then, and sometimes, and then with everything, obviously with Trump and like
which it was so interesting to see you guys unpack that as well.
Yeah, and it was really hard on Jeka when that happened. Like he just cried. That was like a hard.
It just felt like I knew.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember when he got elected, I was like, everything is gonna get taken away from me. That's the only thing I could think of. And then I felt like every day was like, okay, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen? So it's like I couldn't even imagine being. I just came out, so I was like, this is great. Perfect timing.
Through a tweet, just like blowing people up. And I like, even in that film, they were like, we didn't know anything, and then we got all these texts from our family and friends because of what the president tweeted, and it's just like, wow, like that person of power can really kind of hold so much energy and power over us just through the words they use. So
yeah. And we had never intended on making the film political in any way. Like we were solely going to be focusing on the personal stories. We thought the film was going to end on Logan and Layla's wedding and like just be a happy.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning of that year, which was like 2017, we were like kind of wrapping up, finishing the film. And then like I wake up one morning, I'm about to like deliver a team building event, and like my phone starts blowing up because the president had just tweeted that he wanted to ban trans people in the military. And we're like, what the hell? Like, no, we did that. Like, we've heard that job. What are you doing? And so it's like but Trump backed his way into the movie, and we had to like go back into production, and we had to do more filming, and like we had to change the ending and all of that.
Well, it's really crucial. I think you guys did a really good job giving him enough energy to see what he did, but not focusing on it too much because of what he did. You know what I mean? So I think that was really, really great. And I think, you guys have not seen it, you have to right now. And Fiona, really quick, can you let all of our viewers and listeners know where they can find you on social media or all of that?
Yeah. I have to confess, I'm not the best like social media whiz.
Well, you need to come to Pridehouse and
Come
we'll
to
do some
Pridehouse.
TikToks and we'll teach you a thing or two. And we'll get you going. We'll blast you with some energy.
If anyone wants to help me with my social media, because I understand you are all awesome on TikTok. I would love to be awesome on TikTok.
Absolutely.
But yeah, my handle everywhere is just at Fiona J. Dawson. So it's Fiona, Fiona, and then the middle initial J, and then Dawson, Dawson. So I always say I'm Fiona like the princess in Shrek.
Yeah.
And Dawson like Dawson's Creek for those of you who remember Dawson's Creek. But yeah, and my website like now with Fiona is where you can find all the things and like find me on social and that kind of stuff. But I love engaging with people, like reach out to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Even if like I'm not like, an influencer.
No, I love that.
So
But
many.
you are.
And you are an influencer,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, you
not
influenced us.
like a TikToker. You are more influential by what you did.
I'm a different kind of an
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think that is a perfect time for our first break. And when we come back, I think it's really interesting, your story of first coming out as lesbian and then coming out as bisexual. And I think our viewers and listeners would love to hear about that. So we'll take a quick break and be right back.
Oh, we need gay magic.
It's so warm in here.
Welcome back, Pridehouse family. That break felt forever. I missed you guys. Fiona, I missed you. And Fiona, I mean, you need to tell all our audience where you're from, because your accent is fairy tale-ish to me. I'm like, read me a book, please, and put me to bed.
I would love to read you a book. Yeah. And my accent, I like to tell people my accent is from England, but I am from Texas.
Nice.
Now that is
Amazing.
So, my heart and soul feels Texan, but I was actually born and raised in the UK in England. But I left in 1998 and I moved to Houston in 2000, and I've lived in the States ever since. Like I was in New York and DC for just under a decade, and then I came back to Texas last year, and I live in Austin now. But this accent just like has stuck like
I like it.
wanted baggage.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm fascinated with people who have accents.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I was as cool as that.
Yeah.
British accent's probably one of my favorite.
Well, you all
accents.
have an accent too.
Right, we do.
Your
Right,
accent
do you?
just sounds different from mine.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah.
I learned that people from California's accent, like, because to me, I was like, I don't have an accent, but I guess people in California don't say their T's.
Yeah.
They're T's.
Tease.
So it's like, we say like Sacramento instead of Sacramento.
Tater tots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like,
Tater tots.
or like, you want to go. You want to go.
Lazy is what you're saying.
Totally.
we're
Yeah, exactly.
lazy.
Sorry. It's the surfer accent.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
The word that confuses most people is the way I say water, because I'm saying I'm
Water.
really thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please?
Yeah.
I love that.
I
It
might
sounds so
get a-
cool.
I'll be in a
Yeah, I love
restaurant,
it.
and
Yeah.
people will look at me like, "What?" And then eventually I'll go, "Water."
There it is.
Oh, you mean
water.
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make it sound like grosser.
yeah, water.
Yeah. Across the pond, she's here to stay.
I am.
Oh man, that's amazing. Well, Fiona, your story is so special because you first came out as lesbian and then later on bisexual. Do you feel comfortable talking about that with all of our listeners and viewers?
Oh, I will talk about anything and everything. I
Amazing.
will probably give you too many details.
Love it.
Bring it on.
We need it.
Bring
We
it
need
on.
I'm ready to.
Say whatever
Learn.
you want to know.
Yeah. I want to know it all.
But yeah, no, and also, okay, I'll give away my age because I know I don't look my age. I'm 44.
Beautiful.
You're beautiful.
but
Yeah.
It's because I don't have children and I've lived in Texas for a long time.
I love it.
They're like,
That's why I don't look
The
44.
nice weather.
You don't have the air pollution like we do in Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's humid here. It's gorgeous,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it keeps your skin nice and plump. But I give my age for context because I came out as lesbian in 2004, so I would have been like 27ish, like nearly 28.
yeah.
And it was the first time, like it took about maybe a year 6 months to a year prior to that for me to come to have that realization myself. Because growing up, I grew up in a very rural area. I was never exposed to LGBTQ people, but I was never hiding any hidden feelings of not being straight or anything like that. Like a lot of the typical stories you hear is like, yes, I knew at the age of 3. No, I didn't know at the age of 3. I had no bloody idea. I was at the age of 3. Might have had a bit more fun in college.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But it also saves you from some bad experiences in college.
Right.
True. I only reserved the bad experiences for like straight heteronormative experiences, let's say.
Damn it.
Yeah, I would have much rather have messed up as being a queer person.
Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, so like I just always thought I was straight, and I fell in love with a cisgender guy and got married, and at the age of 23, which is kind of young, but that's just what I thought I was meant to do. And I arrived in Texas because my ex-husband was originally from Texas, and then towards like 3.5, 4 years into that relationship, it wasn't a very happy relationship anyway. There were many other reasons why I needed to leave, but towards the end I began to realize, wow, I'm attracted to women. I was working for a charity helping people living with HIV and AIDS, so I was very immersed in the queer community. And back then, and I say back then even though it was only 14, 15 years ago, we were still talking like in very binary terms, like within the gay community. It was like gay or straight. Like I knew trans people, but didn't know a trans person did anything like about being trans. Never did I didn't know the word cisgender at that time. And we said just before I came out, we were still saying GLBT, and I think like a year or two in it turned to LGBT. And so I just like came flying out the closet as a lesbian because I'd met a woman, I was getting out of my marriage, I was madly in love. Like,
You're like, look at me.
You moved in 2 days later.
You hauled.
What does a lesbian take on the second date? I was like, the classic thing. I mean, thankfully we never got a cat. I'm just so
didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
Just
leave it to the gays. They'll get the cat.
So that relationship lasted for a couple of years, and then came to a natural end. And it took another 6 odd more years until I was in my early 30s, around 32, when I had moved to New York. And so I'm not saying New York made me bi, but I just happened to be in New York when I realized, actually, the only reason I'm not going on a date with that guy is because I've labeled myself as a lesbian. And if I'm really honest with myself, I am still attracted to them. So then there was this time where I was like, shit, does that mean I'm not gay? But I love being gay.
Yeah.
Being gay's the best.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to go back to men. And again, forgive me, please, for this binary language, but that's the way my brain was working at that time. And so I then thought a little deeper, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a B in LGBT. I could be bisexual.
You're
Why
like,
didn't I think about it? And then I was like scared. Like I started testing the waters first of all, because I wasn't going to make a decision without trying it out. So went on a few dates with some cisgender guys. And that was even more terrifying. Then I was on the down low for dating a guy because I didn't want the
Isn't that interesting?
for being a lesbian, right?
Right.
And because I'd been the female grand marshal for the Houston Pride Parade, so I was that gay, and I Googled it, looked up on the website to make sure that if you were bisexual, did you still qualify to be Grand Marshal? Because then I was thinking, well, if I was Grand Marshal when I was lesbian and now I'm bi, does that mean that they're going to
remove it?
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And because I didn't know anyone else who'd come out as bi. I knew one bi person who was a friend. And back then I myself had not said this out loud to her, but I'd always secretly felt like it was a bit disappointing that she wasn't gay because being bi wasn't quite enough. It was come all the way. And I know, again, this is absolutely ridiculous to say this.
No, yeah.
And so eventually, in 2012, was it? I've completely forgotten my years.
Yeah.
I then came flying out of the closet as bi, and I did like a little video on YouTube, which now looks like it was uploaded by a dinosaur. Cool TikToks. And, like, there's such a great bi community, like a queer community on all the social platforms. And so, like that's, and of course, like coming out is never one and done, is it? It's like you might have like a bigger moment, but every time, like just day-to-day interactions, like it can be a coming out process. And then I found that even more so with being bi, like I have to come out more often being bi, because then say if I'm dating somebody whose gender expression is masculine and my gender expression is feminine, the assumption is that you're straight. And then you've got to like explain that you're not. And then like, well, why are you dating a guy? Well, because
you have to do that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I feel like
and today,
I feel like
I was just going to close that with
No, you're good. Go ahead.
All I was going to say was, like today, like bi means to me the same as or different from. So it's like the same, similar gender or different gender. So it's like across the spectrum. Like I understand gender in much more of a spectrum and less in a binary way.
Right.
So,
I think,
anyway, sorry, Mollee.
No, please interrupt me. Like I think also too, cause the backlash is the delay. Yeah. I really find that interesting because, I get really frustrated. It's interesting because like Jeka, identifies as straight, and now I identify as queer because I previously identified as lesbian, and then obviously my husband comes out as trans, so I'm not going to identify as lesbian, but I don't want people to think that like I'm just like an average straight person. Like I'm like, you know what I mean? So, so we have gone back and forth on kind of what this new label would be, or I've just been saying kind of queer, which is also an evolving word from, years ago. It
Smear
used to
the
be
queer.
Yeah, it used to be derogatory.
We took it back.
But I think we've taken back that label. But I think that's so interesting too. And we talk about this a lot, like why there has to be labels, or like for society to understand us. And Kent brings up the point of like, well, I like having that label to understand myself. And it's just so interesting, the spectrum of having labels and all of that. And I even, for me, I first came out as bisexual to test the waters if they would judge me if I liked females. You know what I mean? I would tell my friends, oh, I'm bisexual. Like I still like men, but I like women too, just to see how they would, react. And then once I realized they were comfortable with that, I removed the, cisgender out of the equation, and then brought trans men into it. A trans man, not a trans man.
I am.
A couple of them.
All of them.
Magic.
The orgy.
So, yeah.
But that's what's so fun about our community. It's ever changing, and we're here to create structure and destroy structure and create it and destroy it. But like, at the end of the day, it's just about self-expression and finding what works for you and then sharing it. I think that's what's so awesome about everyone's story, and you even sharing your process with us. Thank you so much. That helps me understand. When someone can understand what their journey was like, it helps me as well live with myself and with others, and just staying as open as possible and as flexible as possible, because I think people get so scared of things that they don't know, and we know that, but it's like the possibilities are limitless. We are, and that's what's so beautiful about humans, is that we can have all of these layers and then show up to the party and
eat cake.
And have fun. Like, and I'm excited. I'm excited for, things to even go even further and see where we can take our community even further, because I don't think it's done morphing and moving and changing. And that's what's going to be really exciting to see. Because like, who knows what's going to, like, even when watching your film, like even seeing, even within, like I am attracted to trans men. I see that as well too. So
he's like, Logan is so hot.
And just staying open to all of that and the beauty of feeling and just allowing it and not judging it. But it's so hard because we have to live in a society, and that society requires certain things from us. And
babe, like share with Fiona your coming out of, like, you're not coming out, but it was a mask, and then you came. I really like this story. I feel like she would like it.
I came out as a lesbian first, kind of like similar story with yours. And then I remember realizing that I was transgender and going through, like, in my head thinking, like, I've been wearing this lesbian mask of, like, and then I put myself so like inverted and into that closet that, like, and I lived that mask. Like I was like, everyone knew me as a lesbian, this hip hop dancer, lesbian person. And I was like,
Jeka pulls all the straight girls.
Okay. And I was like, this is me. And I like forced it so much on my face that like it put who I really am like more inverted. And then once I was able to kind of take that mask off and I came out as trans, I feel like it was just, I don't know, like probably like one of the most powerful. But I was gonna say that it like coming out a second time was harder because I felt like it was like really having to tell people like, okay, this is me and that's not. And then having to say like, sorry, I feel like I was like almost kind of like lying to you a little bit for, you know, like in a sense, right? Like, and having to really tell people who I really am, and then over and over again, like more. I feel like I had to tell more people that I was trans than I ever
feel like that's
people.
not lying. Though, it's just discovering new parts of yourself.
Maybe like lying to myself.
But I feel you. I would feel like how like, oh, I've told all my, you know, like if I were to ever change how I felt, like I would have to go through that process as well. And it's just having grace on ourselves and just realizing like every day we're finding out new information, and we're 75% water. So like water always be moving around. Like, I don't know.
It's amazing.
And none of us are born with a manual either.
Right.
I think, you know, there are so many, you know, we have to remind ourselves, like, be kind to ourselves, you know, in addition to finding courage, and like, know that it's okay for you to have a new discovery or to change your mind. Like, you don't have to like make a decision and be fixed to that. Like, life is an ongoing journey where you get the opportunity to discover deeper layers, you know, of yourself. And I love, like, all of your stories are beautiful. And I think in Jeka in particular, like, you're illustrating how society has been long confused on the difference between gender and sexuality. Yeah. And so it's easy for a straight trans person to first think about their sexual orientation and then realize, oh, it's my gender identity, you know? And that is what I heard from Logan and Layla as well, by the way. Like, both Logan and Layla in TransMilitary that we're talking about, they both identify straight as well. Right. And, you know, and so we have to remember, as our community grows and as we understand ourselves even better, to stop using this language of dismissing straight people because trans people can be straight, you know? And I think as we understand, we'll realize actually, you know, sexuality is very fluid and is on a spectrum. And I think the more we kind of like move our boundaries out, like the larger we're going to realize, like, I think that the number of people that belong under our umbrella, you know, in some way or the other. Yeah, and there's space for all identities and all gender. Like, we got to just keep pushing that boundary out further so more people can come in.
Yeah. What do you, how important do you think it is coming out, Fiona, like for the youth or for regardless of age? Like, what is your kind of like, I know you feel very passionate about that. So what is, what's kind of your advice for that?
Yeah. I would first of all say that everybody who is thinking about coming out, do think about your safety. And I don't want to disrespect that, because for somebody like me, like, I've always carried a lot of privilege in life. I've never felt like I was going to be physically threatened because of coming out as LGBTQ. So I don't think it's fair for me to say everybody must come out, because for some people it could be, you know, their situation. So I do think that as long as, like, make sure that you feel safe in coming out. And so once you've gone through, you can check that box. I think that it is very important to share your personal story and come out, because the more people that know LGBTQ people, the more supportive they're likely to be, and the less likely they are to not support policies and laws that don't protect every member of our society, you know? So, like, as I said before, like, I live in Texas, and I know that there's a stereotype and a stigma that you know, everything is horrific for queer people in Texas. And while I'm going to say it's not great right now because of who's in government, at the same time 70% of Texans do support policies that protect LGBTQ people. Wow. So the majority of people do support LGBTQ people. And I think it's by them personally knowing an LGBTQ person that actually helps advance that. And that's also why I think it's important to have great positive representation of LGBTQ people in media. Because if you don't know someone personally, the first point of access you're going to get is
what you're looking at
people
on the
in
TV.
film and television.
Right.
And of course, like social media, like sharing your stories on social media is like so important as well. So if, back in the day, if anyone ever like questioned if I was choosing my orientation or something like that, my response was, I never choose my orientation, but I do choose authentic. And so it's like tapping into what is my authenticity, and my authenticity today may sound or look differently to my authenticity in years to come, but this is who I am today. So like when I came out as lesbian, that was my authentic truth then. And then as I peeled off more layers of my understanding by growing my own self-awareness, then I realized, oh, my authenticity is being bisexual. And for me, it feels like, unless there's a better word that comes up for it, like I'll probably always be bi. Pan is like a synonym for me. Like I could say I'm bisexual or pansexual. I choose bi because it's the B in LGBT. So it's an advocacy point. But like, in 10, 20 years time, maybe we're going to understand ourselves even better.
Right.
And I'll like, oh no, this word describes me better, which is why, Ken, as well, we do need words. Like a lot of people say, oh, I hate labels, but labels write us into policy, into healthcare. They find a way of finding community, finding each other. It's like if we can find a word that feels right for both of us, then it's kind of building that sense of community. So until we live in a day where everyone is assumed to have the capacity to be attracted or not attracted to anyone, then
that sounds like your next that sounds like your next television show.
I'm ready to watch that one.
That sounds great.
It's also, I think something really special before we take our last break. I think something really special is talking to somebody so profound and actually educated in our community, because we have like a lot of guests on the show, and I'm not saying like they're like not educated, but a lot of the time nobody takes the time to learn the history, like the actual laws that were passed, the building, the going to the meeting. So even just like having these conversations, I know I've definitely learned a lot from you, and I thought that I've done as much research as I can, like advocating for our community. But it's just so like refreshing talking to somebody that's not only in the community, but passionate and also so well educated and well spoken. It's like, I'm just like this. Wow. It's amazing.
Thank you, Molly. It's the English accent.
And we'll take it. We'll put it on our podcast. And here we are, Pridehouse LA.
Well, guys, we're going to take our last quick break. And then when we come back, we are going to talk all things Fiona's book. And I'm so excited for her to read the dedication.
Sneak peek. We can't wait. It's still warm in here.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
That couldn't have been flatter.
I can't sing. So
it's all about the bass.
That was the best you could get from me.
Sorry, Megan Trainor.
Sorry.
We are back with Fiona Dawson, and she has a book that we are so excited for you to look at. You got to see the cover if you're viewing us. If you're listening to us, make sure you pop on our YouTube to see it, because the artwork is so cute.
Yes.
Take it away, Fiona.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So the title of the book is Are Bisexuals Just Greedy? And 20 other rather direct questions asked of the LGBTQ community.
Ooh, we like direct.
That is the book. It's amazing.
Yes.
And the artwork, I'm so pleased that you gave kudos to the artwork, because the illustrations are by my friend Sid Cordoba, who is non-binary transmasculine person, and he's freaking awesome. Yeah. And they did all of the artwork, including like this little cartoon of me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Dog,
That's your pup?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is Maisie Ray.
I love it. I love that you put
your pronouns.
Too. Like you don't see that a lot. So I really love that.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Pronouns are so important because you can't tell by looking or how someone sounds.
Yes.
Right. You just have to put it out there. Right? Yeah. In fact, we have the pronouns on the inside of the book as well. So I don't know how many other books, like all that official blurb about the ISB number and all of that. Like everyone's pronouns are in there.
Wow. That's incredible.
And I'm excited. Are you ready for the dedication?
Yes.
Okay. So, the book is written for people who are old enough to swear and talk about sex.
So everyone.
Just everybody. I decided the book deserved a medal before anyone else gave it.
A gold
so
star.
I gave it a gold star.
I love that.
This says written by a gold star bisexual. So for all those gold star lesbians out there,
Yeah.
my gold star bisexual.
Love it.
Oh, we love winning.
I love that.
We love feeling like a winner.
Okay, the dedication is super cute, and here it says, "For Dad, please just skip the parts where I talk about blowjobs."
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad. I think I'd be more
boner
worried about my
alert.
mom. Oh, we have a boner alert.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Wait.
We have a boner alert sound. You probably can't hear it, but
Oh, there it is.
it's amazing.
Which way is that boner going?
That sounds
It's going everywhere.
It's like,
It
oh.
doesn't really know.
It's
where
like an
it's going.
inflatable man at
at the car wash.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, my dad did write the afterword, so he, is kind of like a bit cheeky. And I write to my dad, like I reference my dad a lot in here. And the reason why I brought up blowjobs is actually all explained in the introduction, because when I first came out as lesbian, I would like excitedly tell my friends, "Oh my God, I'm never going to have to give a blowjob again." And I got so excited. Okay. And then later, as I came to realize I'm actually bisexual, I was like, shit, am I going to have to give blowjobs again?
Yeah.
And then I realized even more, hang on a minute, being a lesbian does not mean that you might not give a blowjob, because
Yeah.
some
Right.
women are born with a penis, would like to keep it and have a blowjob.
Yeah.
Right.
I end the introduction with like, "P.S. Dad, shut your eyes. Today I actually quite love giving blowjobs to the person I love."
Oh,
I love that. It's you, and if it feels good, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. It's like, so why are we, and I think, why are we saying, these body parts are aligned to this gender? We know that's bullshit, right? Like
Right.
sex and gender are two different things. They might be related. We all like to feel aligned.
Right.
But some women have a penis and some men have a vagina,
Yes.
and that's just facts.
Yeah.
Or you can wear something to emulate it, like, you know what I mean? Where you're like still doing the procedure, I guess.
Yeah.
The procedure.
The surgery.
The incision.
I mean, quite frankly, it's no one's freaking business. It's
Right,
like,
yeah.
as everybody feels comfortable.
Right.
So
That's right.
anyway, but I mean, the chapter titles like kind of give you a sense of like what the job, what the job, what the book is about. It's like basically to educate your family members or even yourself. Like if you've got questions that you daren't ask somebody and you really want to know, or you want to try and explain something to that uncle of yours who's really not getting it, like this is written in a very kind of bare bones binary way. And like titles like, do all transgender men want a penis? And what does the word queer mean? And which is better, bisexual or pansexual? And, toward the end, it's like, how can you use they for one person when it's a plural word?
Yeah.
And how can I keep my kids safe from gay and trans people? Which, quite frankly, is make sure you have as many of them in your life.
Right,
as possible.
exactly.
1 in 6 Gen Z are queer.
Yeah, literally.
Friendly.
I love that. I think that's so helpful to just kind of open up, like break those barriers, just talk about it. Because I feel like most people learn when playing games. Like I'm thinking about like the last time my family was really open to new concepts. It's like when people are playing and they feel lost and they want to catch up, and it's just like this book would totally give that energy to help kind of include them, and it kind of does the hard work for you. Yeah, which I think is really thank you for that. That's gonna help the community in so many ways.
Thank you.
And where can we find your book and get it and all of that?
Yeah. So go to nowwithfiona.com and you'll find, and it's / Are Bisexuals Just Greedy, which is basically the title of the book. But if you go nowwithfiona.com and you'll see there's a tab for Are Bisexuals Just Greedy, and that's where you can drop your name in your email and you'll be first on the list to find out when it's coming out.
Oh, yay, it hasn't even released.
Wherever books are sold.
Oh my God.
We need to find out if they are greedy.
I'm putting it in my...
Yes, you do. The answer to that question is in the book. And I'll also say there's a video that also your listeners might find useful that I've made. Like I made this 2-minute animated video that explains the difference between the word cisgender and transgender. So again, if you go to my website Now with Fiona, it's NOW with Fiona.com, and you'll see that 2-minute explainer video. And it was that video. Yay, there you go. You got it. It was that explainer video that got me writing the book, because like I was writing scripts to make animation explaining all these different things. And then I suddenly realized, holy shit, like there's so much written, like this is a book. Let's do a book first. So my next ambition is to turn this book into a series of like 2-minute videos. So that's
animated still or live action
will be useful.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be?
Oh, it's animation and
animation.
live action.
That's
both.
Epic.
Both.
Oh, mixed media. I love that. I think, because I love animation. I think it's so easy to kind of connect.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
And I love the little, this is completely different and like not even in the same realm, but Jeka and I probably watched the like Olaf Presents little animated things like 800 times a day. They're like 2-3 minutes. And then like, but you just watch them because it's those short clips and it's just.
It'll do well online too.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm excited to I'm excited to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like ready for that.
Yeah, I would love it if you all can share it. Like, 3-minute animation.
And you get any song in there that we can dance to, you know.
Throw it on TikTok.
I know.
You see, because I can't dance. I can like get nerdy about gender and sexuality, but I can't dance.
You sit in the center and we'll dance around you. We'll do some flips. It'll be great. It reminds me of I'm a little bit tipsy when I drive my car.
A little bit of Alexis.
Yeah, I'm like, oh come on, give me a beat like that, and we will yeah.
A little bit of Alexis.
Oh man.
Okay, we'll have to do a collaboration on this. I think we should make it a thing.
Oh, absolutely. We definitely have to make it a thing.
Absolutely. And I have a question for you. Since it's the new year, 2022, we all kind of do this thing. You know, we dream board, we do all that kind of stuff. What's something that you're excited to see within yourself or your work that's coming up? Anything. It could be personal. It could be work related. 2022. What are you manifesting?
I am manifesting. I love this. I manifest every morning. I visualize every morning to manifest. In addition to the book, like I want Oprah to interview me on her book club for the book.
Yes.
Oprah, listen.
Oprah is viral right now.
Yeah.
That one question where she's talking to one of her audience members about acceptance to the LGBTQ, and like she's killing it right now. Like Oprah's been a pioneer.
So let's manifest.
Fiona
and Oprah.
Let's manifest Oprah. Oprah getting hold of the book, even if she doesn't interview me, like just Oprah like realizing that this is there and like and getting it to the world. But I'm also pitching my unscripted TV show called Now with Fiona that I host.
Oh my God.
And it's sharing positive stories of kindness and courage from the LGBTQ community, because so much of the news media and like stories focus on how dreadful everything is. And while of course that is true and facts, that yes, we do have high rates of violence and so on and so forth, there are also really positive, amazing, good things that are happening all the time. And so my show is about uplifting the good things that are happening to kind of like help bring the world together in love and kindness and courage. So
that's amazing.
2022, I want to manifest
Oprah and love.
2022 Now with Fiona and Oprah. I would definitely watch that. That's amazing.
I love that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Well, it was like such a pleasure having you. You are an incredible person, and I hope that we get to do this a lot more, and I hope your resolutions come true, and I'm sure they will, because even just talking to you for this like past hour has been like so amazing.
Energized. And it makes me really proud to be a part of this amazing community. I feel like we really are those people that are trying to stay as woke and alive and as gentle and as welcoming as possible. So thank you for showcasing that.
You're doing an incredible job. It's my joy to have been on your podcast. I'm really grateful for it, and I'm excited to have new friends.
We're loud ones, and we will twerk on you.
Louder the better.
You need to see my pants. You need to look at my pants.
Yeah, you got to see Kent's pants.
Oh, please, let's have a look.
They're like
my goodness,
shag carpet.
Oh wow!
Kent is twerking on the table right now.
Oh my God, I'm twerking on the table.
Oh man. Well, for everyone listening, viewing, do not hesitate to go check out everything Fiona Dawson, TransMilitary. Sign up for her new book. We will make sure that we put the link in our description. Fiona, you're amazing. You guys don't forget to like,
comment,
download,
subscribe, everything. everything. Rate us, comment, send it to your friend. Just send it to someone. Just put it on in your car, blast it a little loud, and just, share the good.
Yeah. Share the good.
Share the good.
We have a catchphrase if you want to say it with us, Fiona. We say it's a great day to be LGBTQIA. So you want to say, okay, ready?
Perfect.
1, 2, 3.
It's a great day to be LGBTQIA.
Yay. Thank you so much, Fiona. We adore you, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you.
Can't wait. Jeka, Mollee, Ken. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.
Ciao, Bella.